How do I accession books with a typewriter and pen? That's a question I never thought I would ask myself, yet as I sat at my desk at my local library where I work, I found myself asking that exact question. Now, there are a couple of things that we need to know in order to learn why we accession and ultimately how to do it, especially in an archaic sense. Whenever I started working at my local library, I had no idea that they still use typewriters in order to accession books. That is incredibly archaic. That's almost unheard of. Yet, my library did it, so I had to learn how to do it. And the thing is, it's actually rather simple. Now, the tools that you'll need are also rather simple. A typewriter, some whiteout, a red pen, and an accessioning book, as well as whatever books that you're trying to read, or that you're trying to accession. Now, the steps that you must take in order to accession books are also very straightforward. So first of all, you want to go through the library, gather all the books that you're wanting to accession from the shelves, and put them in a pile. Then one by one, you'll go through. And there are a couple of different ways to accession. The way that I most often accession at my library is by weeding books. Weeding is the term that we use for getting rid of a book. Usually this will happen if a book is now censored by the library, or if it needs to be removed for another reason, or perhaps people just aren't reading it, so there's no point in putting it on our shelves. In that scenario, then you would go and take the book off the shelf, bring it back to your typewriter, and then what you want to do is you'll have a bit of a spreadsheet. It's usually in an accessioning notebook. It's going to be lines and little boxes that you're going to fill in with all of the relevant information, such as the title of the book, the author's name, the publication date, etc. And what's important to realize here is that the reason why we're accessioning is to keep a record of the book, to make sure that we're documenting the books that we have and the books that we don't have. The ultimate purpose of that is to make sure that we have information that we can give to our patrons. So whenever you're adding a book, all you're going to do is go to the current accessioning book, go to the very end, then you're going to put down a number, and that's going to be the number that you'll put on the sticker that is on the binder of the book. You're going to put that number at the beginning of the accessioning notebook and at the beginning of the line for the book in the accessioning notebook. Then you're going to fill out all the relevant details, and then you're going to add it to the accessioning notebook, ultimately, so that you now have a record of it in the library. And in order to weed a book, you're going to do the complete opposite. So you're going to go and take a book off the shelf that you no longer want to be there, and what you do after that is try and cross it out, and then you're going to put in the corner that you have weeded it in red ink, so that you can know once you look for that book, or if someone asks you for that book, you know what happened to it. Also, if you have a card system at your library, then what you have to do is go to the drawer and take out the card, and then also write that you've weeded it on the card. That way, you're not actually getting rid of the information, because what if someone has seen the book before and they're interested in it now? The entire purpose is to make sure that you have the past information as well as the current information. In other words, the book was here, now it's not. So that's what happened to it. You want to be able to tell the story to the patrons so that they don't leave upset. Now, what is the ultimate reason for accessioning? What's the importance of accessioning? The entire purpose of keeping a record of your books is, as I said, to keep your patrons informed. But what does accessioning look like today? Now, my library has luckily upgraded from typewriters and cards. Now we're all digital, and that makes my job a lot easier. I no longer have to go and spend a lot of time writing things down, crossing things out, whiting things out with whiteout. That's kind of a hassle. Instead, now I'm able to enter all of that information on the computer. I'm still keeping a record, and it actually makes it easier because every time that a patron inquires about a certain book, all I have to do is type in the name of the book, and then it pops up. It makes my job a lot easier, and that's how you accession, and that's accessioning's purpose.